Please forgive me. I am a ritualist. I will make sure I build schools and good infrastructures in the village.
The rain fell slowly that evening on the roof of the Ezeonu mansion, a house built with glass, gold, and secrets. Inside, laughter filled the air. Guests moved about. Workers decorated the compound, and musicians rehearsed for the grand event. Chief Damian's Ezeonu's 60th birthday. He was a man of wealth and influence, respected in the community, feared by his rivals, admired by the poor, who sang his praises without ever knowing what shadows his riches carried. But within that mansion of marble and money, a secret slept, one that had been buried for 25 years. That secret began to wake the day Amara came home, Chief's only daughter. Beautiful, educated abroad, and full of curiosity. While cleaning her late grandmother's old room, she noticed something odd, a loose panel behind the wardrobe. When she pushed it aside, her eyes fell upon a small black calabash, sealed tightly with red thread, coated in dust and age. She turned it over in her hands, wondering why it had been hidden so carefully. And with one small pull of curiosity, she untied the red thread. The lid came loose with a faint hiss. Inside lay white ash and a faint metallic scent, like old blood. At that moment, a distant wind whistled through the corridor, and though the windows were closed, a cold shiver ran through her. That night, Amara dreamed of a woman. The woman stood in a forest, barefoot, drenched in rain, her wrists bound with beads and chains. She wept as she whispered her name. Amara, the blood of the innocent cries, the debt must be paid by the child of the thief. When Amara woke, her heart pounded. The sound of the woman's voice still echoed in her head. Morning came with unease. Amara told her mother, Lolo Adako, about the dream. But as she described the woman and the calabash, her mother froze, her face drained of color. She whispered a name Amara had never heard before. Then she said quietly, You should not have opened it. The rest of the day, the house felt tense. That night, Amara heard her parents arguing in their room, their voices sharp, trembling, desperate. Chief Damian's voice rose in anger. He said the course was over, that he died with a woman. Her mother shouted back that no one can bury the truth. From behind the staircase, Amara listened, confused, frightened, and now desperate to understand. Who was that woman? And why did her name carry such fear? The next morning, Amara traveled to a nearby village to visit Mama Nena, an elderly herbalist her grandmother once trusted. When Mama Nena saw the black calabash in Amara's hands, her eyes widened. She touched it gently, and her expression turned grave. This, she said, was part of a covenant, and whoever broke that covenant planted death in their lineage. Amara's voice shook. What covenant? The old woman sighed deeply and began to speak. Years ago, your father worked with a woman named Onye. She was gifted. The one who discovered a gold deposit in the hills of Nsukka. They took an oath before the gods to share the discovery, to prosper together, to protect each other. But greed is a spirit that speaks louder than honor. Your father broke that vow. He took everything. and Onyinye died days later. Some say she went to a shrine before her death to seal her blood into this calabash, that one day it would find its way back to his bloodline. Amara sat frozen. Her father's empire, the mansion, the cars, the name, all built upon betrayal. That night, the mansion grew silent. At midnight, the lights flickered. The sound of distant crying echoed through the halls, soft, mournful, and near. Amma stepped out of her room, heart racing. There, at the end of the corridor, stood a woman, wet, dripping, holding the same black calabash. Her face was pale and sad. She whispered, "The child must return what was stolen. Only then will peace come." Then she vanished. When Amara screamed, her mother came rushing with a rosary wrapped in cowries, praying in two languages, half Catholic, half traditional. The air grew cold, dead still, but something had awakened, and it was not going back to sleep. Days passed, and things began to fall apart. Chief Damian's businesses started collapsing. His partners betrayed him. His accounts were frozen, and the media turned against him. He called it coincidence, but Amara knew the curse was working its way through every corner of his world. Then came the birthday, a grand event that would expose everything. The compound was filled with guests, politicians, and priests. There was laughter, cameras flashing, and a large portrait of Chief Damian smiling over the crowd. Just as he raised his glass to speak, the lights went out. Thunder cracked, though the sky was clear. Then, through the speakers, a woman's voice echoed, calm but haunting. "Return what you stole, or your seed will perish." The crowd screamed. Some ran. Chief Damian fell to his knees, trembling, tears in his eyes. He confessed everything: the betrayal, the broken vow, the curse. He begged for forgiveness, swearing to return what he took and restore Onyinye's name. As he spoke, the black calabash placed on the high table as decoration cracked open on its own. The hatches inside turned pure white, and for the first time in decades, the air felt light again. Months later, in a quiet village in Nsukka, a new building stood tall. The Onyinye Skills Academy for Women, built by the Ezeonu family. Amara stood before it, watching young women learn trades, holding their heads high, a living tribute to the woman her father wronged. Chief Damian had fallen ill shortly after his confession. Before he passed, he held Amara's hand and said softly, "Never build on another's tears. Wealth is sweet, only when it is clean." Amara buried the remains of the black calabash beneath a tree near the academy. As she covered it with earth, a soft wind blew through the trees. The same kind of wind that once carried a curse, now carried peace. And in that moment, she felt Onyinye's presence, no longer angry, but free.